Hi guys, welcome back. Today is rant number 5. I've entitled this Who Are the Homeless? I really didn't know what other titles to sort of put, so we're just kind of going to go with this for now. So let me start off with it very quickly. Imagine your way to work. Imagine you go into the supermarket car park, sat outside a shop, or maybe approached on the street. The misconception that we have is that they're all alcoholics, drug addicts, scammers, liars, whatever you want to call them. I mean, there's a reasonably chunky list of ways you can describe homeless people, I guess, and I think very few of them are going to be nice. In reality, you know, we've got a diverse set of skills within, I say, the homeless community, within individuals that are homeless, engineers, consultants, brokers, entrepreneurs, individuals who've still have marketable skills in sectors like retail, hospitality, engineering, marketing, IT, and finance. And there's probably a few more as well you can add to that list, to be honest. But due to unforeseen circumstances, they've ended up homeless. I mean, look, imagine having no home, not knowing where your next meal is going to be coming from, no job, no prospects. I mean, one minute you've got everything, and the next you've got nothing. You know, I don't know how horrible that must feel and how difficult it must be for someone, when they experience that. It must really, really destroy you. And, rather than put ourselves in their shoes, we kind of pretend like, they don't exist. We strip away their sense of humanity, basically. I mean, we question if they're genuine. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying every homeless person you see, listen to their story and tick it off and say, yep, that's a genuine story and I need to sort of fix it or do something to help them, use a bit of common sense. But we also go and criminalize them as well. Oh, they're begging for money, must be part of a gang or something. No, again, use common sense. Okay, we used to get these people used to sell little sort of flowers and kind of put them on your shirt or somewhere, and the minute they do that, it's like, oh, give us £5 kind of thing. That's dodgy. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that kind of stuff. And obviously people are like, oh, but there are so many homeless people. Some are making like more than like 20, £30,000 a year. It's a job for them. These fake homeless people. Like I say, it's common sense. Make a judgment call. Okay. If you're not sure, just leave it. And what we do is we also attack and humiliate them. I mean, you must have heard of stories, or you must have read stories in newspapers of homeless people being violently attacked, urinated on, spat upon. These are like Friday, Saturday night revelers coming out from the pubs, drunk off their face, these pathetic, insecure people on a power trip, and they think, yeah, let's just take it out on the homeless person. That's not what is needed. You need positive experiences, not negative ones. I mean, during COVID, look, councils have basically given millions to shelter the homeless. They need more funding from government just to balance the books. We have to create opportunities to get homeless people involved in council-led community projects. With landlords evicting people during COVID, the matter's only going to get worse. Landlords don't really care about anything other than the rent they receive. That's it. I'm not getting my rent. Fine. Eviction notice, get out. That's it. Why do you think people rent property? They rent property to make money. That's why. Yeah. Immediate profits from rental income and long-term gains from the increase in the asset or the equity that is in that property. That's what they're looking for. No one's doing it from a charity point of view. Okay. No one's doing it out of the goodness of their heart. Rental income and renting and buying properties to rent is a greedy activity. Okay, in my opinion, one rental property, fine. When you start renting out two, three, four, five, six, and I've heard people with 20, 30 rental properties, and you see these programs on BBC One kind of thing, all these people say, oh, I've just bought this property at auction, I'm going to do it up. Oh, it's my sixth rental property. Do you really need six rental properties? I think you're getting a bit selfish and you're getting a bit greedy, and I think that's unnecessary. I'm going to move away from that. Might turn that into a separate rant maybe later on. But let's say landlords evicting people during COVID, the matter's only going to get worse. And this is compounded obviously by homeless people reaching a point where I don't know, maybe they think they don't need help or maybe they don't deserve the help. So when you go up to them and say, would you like some help? They say no. Literally, I don't want any help. Leave me alone. They've gotten to such a negative, bad point in their life. Maybe they just don't trust other human beings. I don't know. I mean, let me give you a real life experience, a real life example. So, near my wife's place of work, there are quite a few homeless people, and one in particular is a very pleasant um, guy. Doesn't beg for any money, doesn't beg for food. All he does is he sits on a bit of cardboard, wishing every passerby, every commuter on their way to work, whatever you want to call it, every passerby, good morning and good afternoon. And that's not a drab good morning, good afternoon. It's a good morning, good afternoon. It's a, I don't know, the way my wife used to describe it, it was kind of like in a gentlemanly way. Yeah. You're going through a bad patch, but you're going to grit your teeth, you're going to smile, and you're going to be positive. That's the vibe I was getting. And I mean, this chap's name's David. Yeah, he was, from what my wife said, was a non-threatening kind of guy. He was just a very nice, approachable guy. Now, he told my wife, I mean, this is not like straight away on the first meet kind of thing. It's over like 2, 3 weeks of walking past and like sort of, saying hi and all that kind of stuff. And one day he sort of, told his story, as it were, to my wife about how he became homeless. I'm not going to go over that story here because that's a sort of a private thing. But my wife came home and told me. And after that, she started speaking more and more to him, as in like, how are you kind of things, not just a hi, hello kind of thing, but how are you as a person? How is your mental well-being? How are you in terms of your health, etc., etc. So she would do that more and more regularly. And I think one day on her way to work, she was so surprised that when she came home, she basically told me, she goes, I saw a queue of around 20 people waiting to talk to David, the homeless guy. Yeah? Let me ask you a question. When have you ever woke up and seen a queue of 20 people wanting to talk to you? I don't think that's happened. There's got to be something pretty special about that guy. So I thought, okay, fine. Mental note, let's carry on. And then she would say, oh, I gave David £2 today, and another woman, as she was passing by, gave him a £10 note. Look, I'll tell you now, not every person that went by gave money. Not every person that went by gave him £5 or £10. Okay? Some days he made £2 or £3. Some days he made £10 or £15. Okay? But people were willing to go up to him and give him £5 or £10 and wish him well. Other people were queuing up to talk to him. Yeah? That's social interaction. Now you're going to think, oh, he just took the money and just basically did some drugs with it. No, he didn't. He basically kept the money. He saved the money and he would use that money to pay. I think the hostels were charging something like 15 to 20 pounds per night. Okay. That's one night in a hostel would cost him 15 to 20 pounds. That's obviously if he had the money to pay. Okay. He would then use that opportunity to get washed. He would use that opportunity to get fed, to basically feel like a human being and forget the fact that he was homeless. And this was around sort of October kind of time, and this was like last year, 2019. And I thought, well, Christmas coming around the corner, you're going to get Christmas presents for your wife, Christmas presents for your family, and all that kind of stuff, and maybe get a few things for yourself. And that his David's behaviour, David's story, was kind of got into my head, and I was like, oh my god, I think this guy deserves a break. So what me and my wife decided was that we wouldn't exchange any presents, and what we did instead was that we went and basically got David some thermal clothing, We got him a sleeping bag, obviously because winter was approaching, so we wanted him to stay warm. So that's the thermal clothing and the sleeping bag. And we wanted him to stay dry, so we got him a tent. Okay. I think the whole bill totally came to something like about, I don't know, say 40 for the tent or something, 20 for the sleeping bag, and about £20. So say roughly about 70, £80 worth. Okay. And I mean, look, I'm not saying this to you guys and then for you guys to say, oh, give well done, have a pat on the back for doing that. No, 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 that's not what this is. Okay. It's, I felt at that particular time in my life, when I heard that story, that I could do something. And so I did it. That's all it is. Okay. There's nothing more. I'm not being a saint and I don't want to pat on the back. Okay. It was the right thing to do, I think, at the right time for the right person. So, we got him all this stuff. And then my wife basically took it on a train down to him. And he literally just like fell apart. He was so happy, you know, all of it, crying, you know, just elated, absolutely elated. And it's at that point that he said to my wife, he said two things. He goes, I'm so happy I've got a sleeping bag back again because someone stole mine. And the second thing he said was, I've always loved camping and having a tent will allow me to do that. Now, from our point of view, we're looking at the sleeping bag as a way of keeping him warm and a tent as a way of keeping him dry for when it rains or snows. We had no idea of these two things. We just saw a guy on the floor and we thought, oh, he's probably got his possessions, somewhere else. He's kept them safe, kind of thing. So yeah, that was a good call to do that. And yeah, he was happy with that. And that was around the time St Mungo's charity was sort of going around doing like well-being assessments and things like that. And my wife was there, just like passing by when they were there doing the assessment. And David was there explaining to them and saying, look, I am a homeless person, but I don't want to be treated like a druggie. That's not what I am. I want to get off the streets and I want to get a job. I want to get back to normal. And happy to report, the Simungos have basically found him a place. He's off the streets now, and he is looking for a job. So good result there. But if this kind of tells us anything, it's kind of not to judge, I guess, and to show maybe a little bit of compassion. Drive some positive change. That's what I'm saying. Okay, we're not going to eradicate homelessness. To be honest, anyone can become homeless. I mean, don't assume, oh, I've got a big fat wage packer. I'm earning 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000, 150,000 a year. I'm a banker, I'm a director, I'm a whatever I am. Doesn't mean anything. Okay? You can have as many rented properties as you want. You could have an infinite pot of, family and friends around you, but don't lead that into, don't sort of, trick yourself into thinking that, oh, because I've got that or some of that or all of that, that it's not going to happen to me. At the time when it happens to you, and you go knocking on your friend or your family's doors, you might find those doors shut. Okay, so bear that in mind. And examples, you're going to say, well, how's this going to happen? Increase mortgage interest rates. Okay, I mean, mortgage interest rates are practically rock bottom now. If they go from something like 4% to 12%, are you really going to be able to pay your monthly mortgage payment of, instead of like £400, you're paying £1,400 maybe, or £1,200 just on your mortgage? Are you in a position where you can do that? Have you got enough savings to do that? If not, you may find that your house is repossessed. Could happen. That will lead to a breakdown in relationships. You could become depressed. Anything could happen. You could lose your job, marital affairs, medical complications. We've seen quite a lot of people, who've had to spend thousands and thousands of pounds on care fees for their, for elderly people in their family, anyone in their family, to be honest, not necessarily elderly. And, they can't do that. They found that really, really difficult. And they've had to do, make life-changing decisions. And that's not quite worked out the way they wanted it to, resulting in them maybe losing the house. So Yeah, I would say bereavement is another one. I mean, you've got loads and loads of initial triggers leading you to being homeless. I would say show respect, care for each other, because it could be you next. As always, please leave your comments below and don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you very much.